Hi everyone, welcome. Right, in this video I'm going to demonstrate to you how to grant AWS S3 bucket access to what we call identity and access management group. Okay, so before we go on, if you are not too sure of what S3 is or IAM users group or what IAM is about, I've done a separate video about what we call IAM and then S3. Okay, so if you are not too sure, refer back to those videos and come back to this. The reason being, we are going to combine these two services, okay, and leverage on that. Okay, so let's move on. So our scenario is we have what we call our a group. Okay, within the group we have users, right? These users require access to a specific S3 bucket, okay, and their use case is they want to be able to upload and download certain files to this bucket. Okay, so going forward, how are you going to grant this asset? Bear in mind you're going to leverage on what we call principles of least privilege. We have two options: either you leverage on what we call identity based policy or what we called a resource-based policy. In this video, we are going to leverage on what we called identity-based policy. I will do a separate video about what we call the resource-based policy. So straight away, let's go to my console and let's get cracking. Okay, let me go to my console. So I've got my AWS management console here open. Okay, right. I have my IAM users. So this particular user is the one requesting for access to S3 bucket. Okay, so we know for now he only belongs to one group. Okay, this group. So we can find the group. You can either click on that user, find the group the user belongs to. Okay, the group. Okay, here it belongs to IT security group. Let's go in there. Okay, and that is the Danny. He is the guy who needs access. By leveraging the group will have access to this. Okay, so on the permission, the user or the group have no policy attached. There's no permission. Okay, they need access to S3 bucket. The bucket is called simply done tech. Let's look for the bucket. S3. Actually, let's open in a new tab here. Have a look at it. So the bucket the user is requesting access is simply done 5A2. That's the bucket, for example. Okay, so let's look at this bucket. Okay, we will come back to this and grab what we call Amazon resource name. Okay, we'll grab it from the property side of thing, this one. But for now, let's go back to the group or the users. Okay, come back here and then grant them permission to the bucket. Okay, so what we do is we are going to add permission. Right. So we are not going to attach the policy directly. If you have your existing policy that you have already created, you can add them straight away. But what we're going to do is we're going to do what we call inline policy. We're going to attach the policy directly to the group. If we delete the group, the policy will disappear. In that case, we are not managing the policy. Okay. It's actually attached to the group. Yeah. So let's go inline. Okay, and what we are interested in, let's go for the JSON. So I explained this whilst we're going along. Remember, the user is requesting for access to S3. So the service is S3. So we search for the S3. Okay, and as I'm doing it, it will populate on here. Okay, so again, bear in mind in the ticket is requesting that leverage on the principles of least privilege. Don't just grant every action to the bucket. Okay, he need to upload and download. That is to put and to get. Yeah, so we will skip that, as in grant all level access. We will go and look for an interesting thing here. We will start with list all my bucket. What is this going to do? Let's look at the info. So grant permission to list all bucket owned by the authenticated sender of this of the request. Okay, so here basically the user who is going to log in will be able to view all bucket. Okay, all bucket. This is when the user is logging into the console. If you don't give this access, the user will not be able to see anything. Okay, so let's come back to where we were. So we selected the S3. So for the user to be able to see all buckets within this account, we select that. Right? It doesn't mean it's be able to work within all the bucket. So we will, bottom it down. We're going to narrow it down. Okay. So we're going to list bucket. So this will allow the user to list the content of the bucket, be able to download and upload the content of the bucket. That is this permission. Yeah. Okay. I'll explain this later again. And then what we need is the user want to do something on the object. The object is the actual item in the container or the bucket. So get um, object. Yeah. So get object. Happy days. Right. So for now, this is listing the bucket and getting the object. I think we need put as well because it's going to upload. Where is put? Put object. That's what we're looking for. Put object. Yeah. So far, that is fine. For the actions, we will scroll down and go to the resource. On the actual resource, War AWS services is S3, but what is the resource type? Is bucket, okay? And what is the bucket ARN? Remember, I told you you go back to the resource ARN. Here is it. So let's grab that, okay? I open it a new tab, look for the bucket, copy the ARN, okay? Come back here, and then let's remove that. Let's remove all of them actually. So remove that and then paste it here. Okay. So for now, let's keep the here and then I'll save or add. Okay. What we can do, okay, let's finish off. I think we're done now. But let me quickly add one more thing on the resource. So this resource is going to allow the user to list the bucket, okay, and its content is going with this action. But to get the object itself, okay, which is the content of the bucket, okay, you will need to add this. Okay, let's go down, put in here, which is the same ARN, but we're going to add, let me copy that, the same ARN, so paste, and then I'm going to add forward slash. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to add forward slash and a star, okay, on here. Let's make this a bit, yeah. So this one works with the get object, okay, and then put object, and this resource works with the list, okay. And this one is going to allow the user to have a console asset, be able to see the bucket within this console. If we ignore this, you will not be able to see it. But they will be able to see other bucket, but they will not be able to upload or download the content of the other bucket. It's only for this specific bucket. Okay, so we're happy with that. We go next, and then we can give the policy name. We can say sim, no capital case, simply done hyphen S3, something like that will do. Okay, and then all we need to do is to create an inline policy. Okay, right. So we know the users or the group have access to the specific bucket. Now let's switch. I'm gonna log out from this and log in as this user. Okay, so this user, come here. The user is called Dan. Okay, I'm gonna log in as that user and have a look. Okay, so I'm gonna sign out on here, sign out, and then let's log in on the console. So the user is called Dan. Okay, the user knows the password. Okay, log in. So can you see the user has logged in as done. So now let's have a look. Okay, it has no access to any other thing. Let's look at the bucket. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so right, I think we missed one thing. Once I saw this screen, I know we missed one policy. We'll go back in and get it done. So here, watch this here. So all bucket general purpose, can you see we get access denied? Okay, the reason being the list all bucket, it has to allow everything, every S3 resources. We missed that, and therefore that is why we having this. Okay, it's good that we found this problem. Let's go back out and then fix it. So let's log back out because the user again complained. Yeah, you think you've done your bit, you granted the user access, but they'll come back to you and say, yeah, I can't access any bucket. Okay, and then you need to go back and rectify. So let's go back and then sort it out. So let's sign out as the user. I'm gonna sign back in as myself as the administrator, the person dealing with the request. So let's me log back in. Let me cancel some of this stuff. It doesn't get confused. Right, so I'm logging in, okay, as myself. Right, happy days. Right, so let's go back in. I hope you are following so far. So if you don't get, the permission right, it's going to be a problem for you. So I normally take my time to explain the permission. So let's go back in here. Let's find the user, okay, or the group. Any of them is fine. So the group, it belongs to the IT security team. Let's go back in there. Let's access the permission. And then on the permission, open that. Okay, we have this, right? So this particular action requires you to give access to all buckets, not just this bucket, not just this resources, all. So therefore, let's edit that and add a separate, policy to allow all. Okay. So here, what we can do is let's click anywhere here and then add statement, another statement. Okay, that statement, what is going to do, same service S3. Okay, happy days, but here we're going to say allow all action. Okay, allow all S3 action. Okay, not this one. Allow all S3. Where is that? Okay, list all my bucket. Okay, that is it. That's what we're looking for on all resource. So at the bottom here, if you go to the resource, it requires all S3. So you see the star, okay, that's what it requires. So we add that. Okay, apart from that, we are good. So here you can even remove this policy from here because you've got it stated here. Okay, so I think let's remove that from here, remove that one from here. Okay, and what we can do is to go next and then we update the policy. So we're going back to the user and say, yeah, your policy is updated. Can you please try again? Okay. So let's log out and say, please try again. So we logging out. The user is now going to try again. Hopefully, we will be cooking on the gas. Yeah. Happy so far. Right. So the user is done. The password is okay. Right. We are in. Let's try again. The user is going to try again, hopefully. Right, so back in the S3, let's check it now. Right, now you see the user can see other bucket, but it doesn't mean they can do anything with it. Okay, so for example, if you go in here, let's try that. The user is trying to look around and say, what can I do? Okay, what can I do? It's a insufficient permission because you have access to see the bucket, which is you cannot avoid that. Okay, surely there should be a better way of doing it, but I try, but I think this is the only way. Okay, they'll be able to see all bucket, but they cannot do anything with it. You can see but you can't touch. The only thing they can do with the bucket is this one. So with this one, simply done. Okay, 5A2. With that, you see they're able to see, even go down, drill down, they'll be able to see the content. So to get is to, let's say, download. Yeah, to get is to download. Okay, that's what they wanted to do. So here, download, and you see it got downloaded here. That's it. That's it. Okay, that's me. Okay, so let's cancel that. Is be able to download again. They can also upload. That is all they needed to do. So we can quickly go upload. Okay, and just grab something. So let's grab this one. Okay, and then upload. So the user is happy, successful. Okay, let's pretend the user might be trying to, because he can see other bucket, he's trying to play around and see if he can upload certain thing. Okay, so this is going to be, let's have a look. Let's try this. Let's pick that bucket, for example. Okay, the user is trying to see if he can upload. You have no option to do it anyway. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is how you grant, what we call principles of least privilege. So you are not granting every, action for this bucket. You are only allowing them to get and put. Okay, so principles of least privilege is a journey, and you are leveraging on S3 plus IAM. So again, if you want me to do another video, let me know, and I'm happy to do it. So this is what we call identity-based policy, granting access to S3. Our next video will be what we call resource-based policy, whereby we're going to add the principal to the S3 instead of doing it on the user level. Okay, so please comment, subscribe, and share this video to your friends, those who you think might be interested. See you in our next video. Happy learning. Bye bye.